In this part of the video, I'd like to show you my 4 favorite curb bits and the features about them that make them my favorites. But before we do that, I'd like to show you what I consider to be one of the worst bits in the United States, and actually it's also one of the most popular bits in the United States. And you're looking at a photo of it right now. It's called a Thumb Snaffle. And let me just point out some of the features that cause me not to like this bit. And the first thing is we have a snaffle mouthpiece, but this isn't a snaffle, it's a curb bit. You know, we've got shanks for leverage, you know, we've got a curb strap holder. And when you apply the reins, you know, these features cause this mouthpiece to have a nutcracker effect on the horse's lower jaw. And, you know, the horse doesn't like it, and I don't like the feel of it in my hands. It doesn't have a very good feel. The other thing I don't like is you notice this joint where the mouthpiece attaches to the shanks. It's flush with the mouthpiece, which means after this bit's used for a while and we get some wear in this joint, it's going to get loose and start pinching the horse's lips. And, you know, that's not a good thing. We're going to get a raw spot, or the horse is going to start throwing his head because of the pain. Just not a good feature. It needs to have a flange up here so the joint is up away from those horses' lips. The other thing I don't like is the purchase is too short. The measurement between the top of the mouthpiece and the bottom of the headstall loops is called the purchase. And that ratio between the purchase and the length of the shanks has to be correct to get the right kind of feel in that horse's mouth and the right kind of responsiveness from the horse. Now, the other thing I don't like is these shanks are straight up and down. They need to have a little bit of curve to them. Unless they were quite a bit longer, then you can get by with straight shanks. But a shank this short, you got to have some curve to them, so that the responsiveness when you pick up the reins is correct. The action is correct. It's a smooth action. Now, the one thing I do like about this bit, you notice we've got this extra loop back here. This is called the curb chain loop or curb strap loop, and its function is to keep the curb chain from sliding down to the bottom of the ring here and pinching the horse's lips between the bit and the curb chain. And this loop keeps that from happening. Without this loop, this bit would be really pinching the horse's lips. So anyway, so now you've seen the bit that I don't like. Let's go to a bit that I do like. Okay, now this bit, the reason I showed this photo, it's a good photo of the shanks. This isn't my favorite mouthpiece. We'll get to that in a little bit. But pay attention to the shape of these shanks. We've got a little bit of a curve here. We've got the right ratio between the length of the shank and the length of the purchase. Here's the top of the mouthpiece. Here's the bottom of the headstall loop. That's called the purchase. It's a good ratio. We also, notice on the mouthpiece, we also have a flange that puts the joint up above the horse's lips. So there's no pinching action. Even if you wear this a lot and get it, you know, kind of sloppy, it's still not going to pinch because it's up away from the horse's lips. So that I really like. We also have an opening here where you can attach a set of reins and have no leverage. So it'd be like riding with the snaffle bit with this mouthpiece. You just have direct contact. I really like that if you need it. The other thing that I like, these loose shanks, if you're going to use a direct rein and ask the horse to give its head laterally, these loose shanks really help a horse respond correctly to that. So that's why I like the loose shanks. In my opinion, it's better than solid shanks. Now, the one thing that I am curious about, notice the headstall loop. It's kind of backwards. The front part of this should be the back part of this to keep the curb chain farther away from the horse's lips. Now, in this case, the purchase is long enough where that's not necessary, but it's just kind of I don't know, it's a strange design. And it makes me wonder if this bit maker did this on purpose because of the knowledge that he has, or did he do this and just get lucky that it worked? I hate to say that, but I've seen that happen before. Hey, sometimes you just get lucky. The other thing I like is the angle that the mouthpiece is attached to the shanks. All of this is right. All the angles, the ratios, the leverage, all that stuff is right to give this bit a good feel. So anyway, now let's move on to a mouthpiece that I do like. That is one of my favorites. Okay, so here's a low port mouthpiece. And again, the shanks are loose. We have the flange up here, so it's not going to pinch. And the width of this mouthpiece and the height of this mouthpiece really feels good to a horse. And it really has a good feel in the rider's hands. And horses really like this bit. Again, I don't know if the bit maker was so knowledgeable that he knew this was the right dimensions, or did he just get lucky? I mean, I don't know. All I know is horses that won't respond very well to other low port bits respond really well to this low port bit. So I really like it. All right, let's go on to the next bit. All right, so if the low port bit isn't quite enough to get that horse as responsive as you would like, I'll go to this high port bit. And here again, it's loose shank. We got the flanges, no pinch. But what you want to pay attention to is the width of this port. Not just the top of the port, but also the bottom of the port. The width of this is critical because there's plenty of other high port bits where these dimensions aren't the same and those bits aren't nearly or as effective. And they don't have nearly as much feel. The other thing I like about this bit, some high port bits will scare a horse. This one doesn't. A horse feels really comfortable in this bit. So, it's just one of my favorites. I'd say this is probably the best high port bit I've ever ridden with. So, I've got several of these in my tack room. All right, let's go on to the next bit. Okay, so this is a correction mouthpiece, and it has 7-inch shanks. And I like this bit because if a horse needs a little extra more than that high port bit, this bit is a good one to go to. And I'll sometimes use this as a tune-up bit right before a show, or if I have a horse that's just a little dull in the mouth, he's not quite responsive enough, this is the bit that I'll use. And I like it, for the same reasons I like the other bit. The dimensions of the port are right on. It couldn't be better. We got the flange that keeps the joint from pinching the horse's lips. We have a long purchase, which means we don't need the extra curb chain loop back here. This isn't going to pinch the horse's lips between the curb chain and the bit. So I like that. The ratio is correct. The feel of this bit really feels good. The guy that designed this bit really did it right. Really like the bit. And actually, this is probably from a horse trainer's viewpoint, this is a really popular bit. You'll find this bit in almost every horse trainer's tack room for the same reasons I mentioned that I use it. Okay, let's go on to the next bit. All right, so here we've got a correction mouthpiece on really short shanks. And these shanks are actually called Argentine Shanks. And you notice we got the extreme curve to the shank, which means this bit has very little leverage. It's not gonna really affect a horse much when you use the reins. The other thing I like about it, we have this extra loop here for a set of reins. So if you want no leverage whatsoever, if you want just a direct rein like you would in a regular snaffle bit, you can do it with this. I'll sometimes use this when I have a horse in a ring snaffle and he's not quite responding as good as he needs to. I might put this bit on him for a few rides and lighten him up. This is also a bit that I sometimes use for transitioning a horse from a snaffle bit to a curb bit. this will be the bit that I use in between. Now, the other thing about this bit that I like is see how long the purchase is? Again, we're not going to get any pinching. We don't need the extra, curb chain loop back here. This purchase is fine. And the ratio is good where it's got a good feel. Even though it's really short shanks, very little leverage, the bit has a good feel to it. So that's why it's one of my favorites. Okay, well, I hope you found this information helpful. The 2 correction bits, I left links to them below in the description box. So if you wanted to check them out, just click on those links. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell so YouTube notifies you every time I upload a new video. And until I see you again, good luck. All right, take care. Bye-bye.